You got
I
something?
think I just worked out how to turn that stupid beep beep noise off.
Oh, gotcha. I can't hear it at all.
Was that coming through?
Not at all.
Oh,
no.
okay, sweet. I thought it must have been coming through on the. Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, I worked out how to delete it, so I'll never get a notification again now.
Got you. I would have pulled you up ages ago if that was happening.
Oh, sweet as. So yeah, the second location we went to, student clarinets.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about 2.5 hours drive from the first place to there.
And
so
is
yeah,
this
same
the
thing.
same location where the other boys from Australia have all gone and hunted?
Yeah. So this is the fallow spot there on a big lake, and that place there is a privately managed by the Bulgarian Hunting Association. So it's nothing to do with the government owns the land, but the government don't manage the land.
Yeah.
And then so we got there, and yeah, that was our jam. Like even just jumping in the car with the guys from there when we met we met them at the nearest main town, I suppose you'd say. So it was like a 45-minute drive from there. And then just talking and going through everything on the drive up, we're like, oh, sweet, yep. This is sounding like way more like our jam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything's sort of spot and stalk, and you're going to hunt fallow deer. We know fallow deer. It makes sense to us and stuff like that. And driving in, and the only thing that sort of threw us off a little bit was he goes, "Oh, we don't want you shooting the dominant stag off the rut spot." We're sort of like, what do you fucking mean you don't want to shoot in the dominant? Like that's what we come here for, to shoot we come to shoot the dominant, or we come to shoot the big one. And he goes, that's another thing that we've sort of like put in place, because what was happening was they were shooting the dominant stag from that rut place, and then they were moving to a different rut place, or moving somewhere totally, or that whole rut place had shut down.
Wow.
And he goes, we've only got 6 of them. He goes, so that dominant stag is the one that keeps that place alive until someone takes over, but they learn from him as they go. And like in the car driving in, we're going, like, we all hopped out of the car and we all looked at each other and went, ask forgiveness, not permission. So we're sort of like, righto, we'll roll with that. And then, got there, seen probably 100 fallow deer just driving into the place. Wow. Like there was just deer everywhere. We're just like, fuck.
And like straight away incredible genetics, or?
No. So most of what we were seeing were just does and spikes and stuff like that. But like even the spikes are just massive, big, long spikes. And on that subject, they're talking with the guys there that manage it. They go, the spikes under a certain size, they shoot as a selection. Huh. So they basically start culling the boys from the spiker stage. So if they're not growing, like if they're a button head, they just shoot it.
They're gone.
Yep. Like it's so when they do their meat hunts and stuff like that to like keep numbers in check, those button heads all just, that's a target, like they're open slather. And then we arrived, walked into the main room, and there's all these bucks on the ground, like all ones that have been shot this season. Mm-hmm. And we're just going, holy, like we've come to fucking, this is just a mecca.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool thing. And then that afternoon, there wasn't enough time to go for a hunt, just because of the way the day panned out. So we just ended up driving up to a spot and going to look for some. We didn't end up seeing any. We heard a shit ton, heard probably 30 of them going off, but just never actually, because they didn't want to drive us right up into the heart of it, just in case we're spooking them, no reason. So we just pulled up on the edge of it and sort of just glassing the perimeter of it. And as we found out, they were sort of on the other side of this bit of a rise. So from that spot, we never laid eyes, but we could hear heaps of them going off, and just got us all G'd up. And then, next morning, went out, worked out how we were going, like who we were guiding with and stuff like that. And me and Corey ended up going with Anton,
Mm-hmm.
who was he's 2IC basically, like he's the supervisor or whatever it is. So not the big boss, but the next,
Yeah.
like in charge sort of person. And yeah, had some fairly strict rules. Anyway, we got up to this spot, jumped out of the car straight away. Like the car rides up and back, we'll throw you back out. Like it's rough as. Definitely not a comfort thing. And like you're just getting bounced around in this ute driving up there, so you end up like bruised and black and sore. And
yeah, wow.
Yeah, she's a bit of a mish, but for what it is, it's all part of the experience again, and I wouldn't fucking change it for the world. Day 4, I might have changed it because I was getting a bit fucking busted up, but yeah. So we got up there and straight away heard a few deer croaking, and we're like, fuck yeah, we're on here, making our way up to this, like they call it a rut spot there. So it's basically just a lek. And the biggest difference between our rut or our leks here and there is the boys don't go and get the girls come to the boys. So we got to this rut spot, and there's like 20 bucks that are all just croaking and going on, and they've all got their own little scrape that they're scraping up and pissing in and carrying on and whatnot. And then the girls are literally just like walk in, pick the one they want, go over to that guy,
wow,
and then get serviced and then walk off.
That's so bizarre.
Like it's the weirdest thing. Like we were there at sort of the very start of when the rut was heating up, so there wasn't a shitload of girls walking in. There was still a lot of girls spread out everywhere. So it made it all right, and we got in there, and then it's insane because although the deer aren't that much bigger than what we've got here at home, the consistency of it. So I shouldn't say that. Like you'll be there and there's say 10 deer that are in that sort of 240 class.
Yeah, wow.
And then there might be a couple in that 220 to 240 class, a few spikers, and then there's one or two that are that next level up. And I would presume in a better year and a better season, like they all might be that 10% bigger each. So your 240 might be a 250. Your bigger ones might be that bit bigger. Your 220s might be your 230s and stuff like that. But just to see that many big deer consistently together in the same spot was just, you're just like, fuck, how do you pick one?
How big of an area are we talking?
Football field.
What?
Yeah.
And like, is it very like there's not a lot of trees and stuff around? Like, there's not a lot of coverage?
So the spot I hunted was probably the best suited to bow hunting if the wind was right, because it was thick cover on one side and you could sort of sneak through the trees. But then the other top side, and that's all open and pretty average. The other spots where the boys hunted were a bit more open. So what they do is they set up like rock blinds basically. Yeah. So like a stack of rocks.
James talking about that.
Sort of, so pretty much the morning hunts you can go in and sort of try and spot and stalk and pursue the deer. And then the afternoons you get into a spot and hunker down and wait for them to come to you.
And so the boys are coming up and then moving off during the day and then coming back up?
Yeah, basically that was the gist of it. Like they'd stay there until 9:30 in the morning, and then they'd sort of fizzle out, and then by sort of 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they'd be back in full swing. So first morning we got to this spot there. We got to this like big rock thing, and we had a 230, 240 model buck like 25 meters below us. Another real old dude up above us. Like we had 3 or 4 deer that in Australia you'd shoot in a heartbeat. Like you wouldn't even think about it. You would have just put an arrow on the string and buss and done and dusted. But we're just looking around, and old mate goes, don't pick one to shoot, or don't try and shoot one on the first morning. Just get an idea of what's around so you can start to gauge what's here and what's there.
Yeah.
Anyway, me and Corey are there, and we're looking at all these deer, and there's one down the bottom that come out, and I seen him, and I just went, that's the deer. That's what I come here to shoot. That's him.
Yeah.
And old mate's like, oh, which one? And I'm like trying to point it out, and I was on one side of this rock. He was sort of on the other side, tucked in, so he couldn't see exactly where I was talking about. So there's a little bit of and an and then like he eventually seen it, and he's like, yeah, right, that's a good like a good target. That's good, it's a good one to chase, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like essentially got the green light to chase that particular deer, and I was like, okay, that's exactly what I come here for. Like real even on both sides, a heap of points, nice guards, good palmation, just good overall looking deer. And yeah, so I was like, fuck, that's the one I wanna have a crack at. And then while we're there, there's another one that come in across the top that Corey saw, and he goes, fuck, I'd be happy with that fella there, like one like that. And he's like, yeah, righto. He goes, he goes, that's another good, like he goes, that's a good representative head. And then we're sort of like, oh, righto. So we backed out and we got into a different position, and we got down, and we're sort of coming in at the same level of them on the side of this hill, because it's not stupidly steep, but because there's so much activity going on in that spot, there's no grass, it's all just dirt and loose rocks. So it's so soft, and underfoot you just roll and slide everywhere you move. Yep. So a lot of it's like on your ass, just sliding and taking little steps. And we got down into a spot there, and there's a pretty good pad leading into like where the nucleus of this rut pad was. And he goes, well, one of you needs to like have a crack here and go in and whatnot. And I said to Corey, I was like, all right, scissor, paper, rock. And he goes, nah, you're up. He goes, I'm not going first. And I was like, you sure? Like, I was like, I don't really want to go first either here. Like, I don't really want to be put in this thing. And he goes, nah, this is all you. He goes, I'm just the tag along for this. This is all you. You're doing it. And I'm like, fuck, righto. So, like, one half of my mind, I don't want to. The other half, I'm like, fuck, put me in, coach. I'm ready to give this a red-hot crack. Like,
that's what we come for.
I could see the deer I wanted to shoot, and he was one of the closer deer to where we were as well. So I was like, right, I got to have a crack. I got to do this.
How far are you guys at this point?
Yes, 85.
Yeah, okay.
So some people would probably shoot from that distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like those people.
The old Ash Brown.
Nah, there would have been too much fall on his arrow to get that distance.
Gotcha. Did you see that? The 90-meter goat that you got the other day? Fucking insane.
Dude, he cannot miss. That guy cannot miss. The first time I met him at that Northeast experience, I was just blown away. I'm just like, how? Like, how the fuck? And yeah, I asked Jack, I asked a couple of other guys that are pretty good with that trad scene, and they just go, he has it. Like, whatever it is, he just has the thing. And like, it's ridiculous. He just, whatever it is, it's like people that can throw a rock and hit something every time at whatever distance it is. There's just that bow and him are just, that's one.
Yeah.
Like, he's at one with it and it works. But yeah, so I've stalked in. I'm sort of 10, 15 meters from the boys. I look back. There's another big deer come walking underneath us that's like 20 meters below. We're a bit confused because we thought he was saying it's a selection, which is a cull head. Because at the thing we got told, like, you allocated one trophy and then you can shoot a selection, or you can shoot a selection first and then do it. And like our guide said, if you see a selection, shoot one of them and get the monkey off your back and do it that way, just so it's,
confident,
a thing.
just
We're
good
like,
to go.
yeah, righto. Yeah, like a confidence boost and sort of thing. And we went, no, well, we sort of want to, like our plan and prior to getting here was we wanted to shoot a good one and then try and spend the rest of it and upgrade on that one, because that's what the boys before had done, and that was our game plan. But because of these like yanks and all of that, they fucked all of that right in the ring gear now.
Got you.
So, yeah, thank you to those guys, whoever you are. So we're there, and I'm looking back, and we're sort of doing some sign language, and then that deer walked off, and then moved a little bit further. I've got other deer like coming past me at like 10 meters above, and like all these deer at home, you would shoot in a heartbeat. You wouldn't even second guess. You'd have to fight the person you were with, not shoot it, sort of thing. Like that's the, like these are, 230, 240, 250 model deer just walking past at 15 meters.
Fine.
And we had really good wind at this point, and yeah, I ended up getting in to, I think it was about 36 meters off this guy's, where he was like carrying on like his little scrape spot. And I had a really good shot opportunity, but I was like, no, I want it to be under 30. Like this is morning one, day one. I sort of said, I keep it under 30. I know I can shoot the eyes out of a crow at 30 sort of thing. So did a bit more fucking around, and then girls had come in, and other bucks had come in, and he'd move out to chase them off. And I had some other opportunities, but they weren't ideal. And there's one stage there, he was at like 32 meters, but I had a branch straight over all his vitals, and he was perfect angled away, foot forward. Everything was perfect except this branch that just went straight across the center of him. And I was like, fuck, kick me while I'm down, man. And so just, kept at it. And eventually the girls that were with him moved off. He moved off to go and have a bit of a spar or a fight with the dominant buck that was in the thing. So the dominant buck that was there was actually smaller, busted off a heap of points, and wasn't really that good to look at, but he was rutted hard, and he's just a bluer. So, and then that sort of clicked with us. The dominant buck may not necessarily be the biggest buck. The dominant buck is the one that like holds the ground and fights, and sort of his spot is at the nucleus of it.
Yeah.
And at this point, there was three deer in that vicinity that were sort of challenging for that dominant position.
Yeah.
The one that I was chasing, this other fella that you wouldn't shoot just because he was fucking busted up asshole. You'd shoot him because he's cool as hell.
Yeah, just so unique. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another one that was really good on one side and then not as good on the other side. Which, they call a selection, but it's a mature selection, so that counts as a trophy. So you can shoot it if you want, but it counts because it's over the 2.5 kilo weight.
Gotcha.
So it's like you can, but then you're not allowed to shoot another big one after, which like our idea was to shoot one like that at the start, straight off the bat, because if you didn't upgrade, you'd still be happy because they're still like a 240, 250 model deer. Like you're still over the moon with it. Yeah. But anyways, we kept pushing, and I ended up getting in 30 meters from where he was, and I'd ranged him, and at this point I'd had an arrow on the string. I'd come back to full draw like once or twice, and just things hadn't lined up, or he'd moved at the last minute. And then he moved off for something, and I made a couple of quick meters, and I counted the steps. I counted what I did in my head rather than range find. I just sort of counted in my head, and that's probably bit me in the ass because I got in, and after we went back, I went and stood on it and range found back to where I was, and it was 26 meters, and I thought I was probably only 29 or 30. Like I thought I was pretty close to that 30. Yeah. Because the way I moved was just across to get a better angle, but by moving across, I'd moved down and across, and it closed that gap. So just a weird movement. Anyway, come back in, and I drew back and settled me pin. His head was behind a tree. His eyes were sort of behind a tree, but I could see his nose and his antlers out the back, and his front leg was just clear of it. So I've done everything, put me 30 pin on, done the shot, and he's just reacted and dropped and rolled at the shot. Oh. And I was like, fuck, I've hit him high. Fuck, morning one. I just sat there with my hands in my head, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've fucked this all up now. Just sat there for a little bit, and I'm looking back because Corey's back there with the binoculars, and he's like giving me the thumbs up, the thumbs down, and I'm going, I don't think it's. He's reacted, and then a couple of minutes went past because he didn't want to move because the rest of the deer didn't spook out. Like he literally ran 15, 20 meters and then just walked off into the scrub. So he wasn't that phased by it either. And then, we let them go for a little bit. And then I sort of went, well, Corey come in and have a crack at him because I've done mine. So he got to me and fucking go and have a stalk. So he had a bit of a stalk, but it didn't pan out. And then, we linked back up with the guide. Like all of this, we're all, 30, 40 meters from each other at this time. And he's like, oh, you get it done. You got it done on him. And I'm like, no, we hit high. Like it's gone up no man's land looking at it. Like I think it may have even just hit and deflected off his shoulder. And, it's just a flesh wound or a superficial wound. I was like, we've got to find the arrow. That'll tell the story. Anyway, go for a look and I find the arrow and it's a lot further than it should have been. And it was sort of pointing like down into the end of the dirt rather than like laying flat.
So it has shot up and down.
And then, so it's gone up and then come back down. And then like there's the tiniest red mark on it and just like a bit of fatty tissue. And I'm like, it's just literally fucking gone through his skin. Like, it's fuck all. Like he's dropped the shot. He's beat me. He's bettered the thing. I didn't range him and adjust me pin to suit. And he's reacted to the shot and it hasn't worked out. And so we sort of, walking back to the thing and like I'm asking old mate, I'm like, hey, what's the go with this now? Like, how's this work out? Because like he's fine. He's going to, be sore and sulk for a day or two and then he'll come back and it'll be like normal for him. Like he gets worse with an antler and he goes, oh, it's drawn blood. That's your thing. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
God. And they take that as your
morning
as your trophy as well.
That's my trophy. Yeah, that's my trophy. Wow. So that's my trophy now. So my allocated tag is taken by that one. And I was like, fuck, that's put a
dude.
Straight away that put like a dampener on it. Yep. So then I'm ringing Benny and I'm like, hey man, running through the sit show and I'm like, hey, I've hit this thing in no man's land, like 100%. This thing's fine. It's not gonna go and wound up and die or anything. Like it's all kosher. But how do we push that across? And he goes, you got to try and convince them. He goes, it's their thing. They make the rules. I'm like, fuck. So then, a bit of a fucking sulk again from me. And, I come back down and I was like, oh, well, fuck it. I go, because Benny goes, we'll just keep chasing that one particular deer. He goes, like, that'd be what I'd be doing. And I went, yeah, fuck. That's exactly what I'd be doing at home anyway. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I found the deer. I found the deer I want. I'm going to chase that particular deer. So I'm just it's not going to change what I do. The only problem is he's going to disappear for a day or two and be a bit sulky. Mm-hmm. Like that was just, from back home when that sort of thing happens, the deer normally goes off, he's scraped for a couple of days and then he comes back. He disappears and sulks to himself for a bit and then comes back. And so that afternoon I said, well, we won't go back to that same spot this afternoon. I'll just bring the camera and I'll come and film Corey's hunt that arvo. So we went to a different spot and did all of that. Nothing ended up happening. And I was like, right, we'll go back tomorrow morning and I have to hunt this one. Like I'm forced now to hunt that one particular deer, and then before I have a stalk or do anything on it, I need to confirm with old mate the guy that is the actual deer, and find that little wound on him and stuff like that before anything happens. So I spent the next day and a half pretty much going back to that same spot and didn't see him. And I presumed he'd gone off sulking and stuff like that. And then I think afternoon, day 2, we made a blind. We sat in the blind and the wind's just absolutely atrocious. There's a few deer about, but the wind's just shit. Nothing was really going to happen from that. And then we had 2 wild stray dogs come in just below us and start barking and carrying on and spook all the deer out. So we're like, oh, for fuck's sake, what else could go wrong here? Well, let's backtrack out. We'll get on this bit of an open bench, glass the opposing bench, and just see if we can find that particular buck over in the distance, and hopefully we can get an idea of where he's traveling to or from, and do that rather than just sit in the spot with the wind being shit and the dogs had just spooked it all up and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, righto. We did that and it didn't pan out that great. And yeah, righto. So that ended that. And then what are we at now? We're at the end of day two.
Yeah.
Morning day 3. We go back to the same spot. Oh, so in between all of this happening on day 1, one of the other guys that come with us, Theo, pulled an arrow out of the target with a pilot cut and sliced his hand open. Had to go and get stitches. So that threw a bit of a spanner in the works there with that as well. Just adds to the adventure.
Which hand was it? Was it his?
So
his pressing hand, like
his holding hand.
Oh.
The hand that he's got to hold it in, and the cut was right across where you've got to put it in your hand. Like, so the cut was like through here.
Yeah.
So he got that stitched up and bandaged up. So yeah, that was a bit of a shit show. And what made it worse was the guys go, "Oh, just be careful taking the arrows out," because we had a guy last year cut himself taking arrows out. And we're sort of all going, "Oh, look, mate, it's fucking not our first rodeo, we're not fucking."
Famous last words.
5 minutes later, old mate's going, "I don't need stitches for this," and we're going, "You need stitches.
Yeah,
you can patch it, but in 2 days you're going to be fucked.
Yeah.
If you stitch it, you lose an afternoon, but you'll be right to get back on the horse." Yeah, righto. So he goes and gets it stitched, and yeah, just to add to the story.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, man. Highs and lows, man. Highs and lows. This trip was just highs, lows, and every fucking thing in between. So, and then at this point in time too, there's a bit of a pressure on, because from these American guys that come and wounded all that shit and they never ended up getting one. So they didn't get any trophy fees or anything. So they also implemented €1,000 non-refundable trophy deposit
that you put on before you even go.
Put on before you even go. We had to pay that up front.
Yeah.
So there's the added pressure there, like at day 3, that you're going, fuck, I have to put carbon in the air to justify or make up for this deposit, because I'm going to lose it otherwise. So that was an added pressure that the boys were all feeling, and it just sort of made it all a bit fucked.
They kind of got you by the balls there, don't they? It's kind of a...
Yeah, it's a weird situation, because you go with the expectation that, 100% I'm going to shoot one, but then you clock over the halfway point and you start going, fuck, I actually have to shoot one. The pressure's thrown on you then to do it, because you've got that non-refundable, basically $2,000 sitting there.
Yep.
That if you don't shoot one, you lose. And if you have a crack and you wound one, well, you've just got to top that up to pay the wounding fee. So it puts you in a real weird position, and sort of you felt pressured to take a shot as well. I didn't have that problem. I was already paying a wounded fee. So, but the other boys were freshly jumping onto this the same boat and train as I'd been in for the last couple of days, and they're like, "Fuck, righto, this is not as smooth and shiny as we thought." And so morning 3 come around, went back to the same spot, but we came in with a different approach. And I said to him, "Look, if we get into a position and we see him again and I can't make a stalk or can't make something happen on him, I'll use the rifle to shoot him and finish it. So it's done and dusted, and it frees this area up, and one of the other boys can come and hunt in here.
Yeah.
And I'll at least not have this drama of a wounding fee, because like what they estimated him to be and the wounding fee, I think I worked out roughly, I saved myself about 1,600 Australian.
Jesus.
So then that side of it's like ticking on your brain as well, and so there's more pressure there. And I hunted him with the bow. I got into range and I had the shot, and it just my misjudgment on the distance and his reaction. Like if I had him at 26 meters and used the pin, his reaction, I might have hit him a bit lower, and it could have been,
more fatal.
Morning one, he could have been dead.
Yeah.
Or he could have been dead 40 yards down the hill, and that would have changed the whole trajectory of the hunt, because we would have had a cracker on the ground. And
definitely.
Like it would have just, morale would have been high, and I would have literally put my bow down and just walked around with the rest of the boys with the video camera. Like it would have changed the whole aspect and outcome of it. But it is what it is. It happens the way it happens. So we got there and we came in a different direction over the top. And he goes, "This is normally the way that we come in with the rifle hunters, because you're up above them and you can see like all the way in, so you can see sort of all the deer in the rut spot."
Yeah.
So that morning we got up in above and glassed and never ended up finding him, never seen him. So yeah, this time's all gone. I'm like, fuck me, this is really starting to turn to shit. And I got a bit sour again, and we're driving back out, and I was like, "So what's the go now?" And he goes, "Oh, you can choose to hunt a selection if you want." And I was like, "Mate, we shoot, like we got selections at home. I can shoot these. It doesn't cost me anything. It's, I didn't come all the way over here to shoot a selection." And he goes, "Oh, let me have a think about it. Might be able to do something. Might be able to do something else for this afternoon and tomorrow." And I was like, "Righto." And then I talked to Benny and just ran through what was going on and said, "Hey, I've shot and injured this cracker. Like he's in that 260, 270 range, I'm guessing, on the hoof. The guys that are coming over after the Aussies with the rifle, like that's the best deer I've seen so far. That's probably going to be something that they might be interested in shooting. And then if they shoot it, I don't pay the wounding fee." And he goes, "Yeah, essentially that's how it all works." I was like, righto, sweet. So then jumped in the car that afternoon and sort of had a bit of a different game plan, and was sitting at lunch and doing something there, and I was like, I manifest. We're all going out the Savo, and we're all going to kill deer the Savo. It's all happening. The Savo's the day. Afternoon 3, we're all getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
We're all, yep, high spirits. We all leave, go off and doing our thing. We're driving out. And I said, "Oh, mate," I go, "Look, I spoke to Benny back home that like organised the hunt for us and stuff like that. He said, you've got 2 more Aussies coming next week or the week after with the rifles. The deer I shot is something that either of those guys would be interested in looking at and having a crack at. If they shoot it, does my wounding fee disappear? And they just obviously pay for the trophy that they got. Like it's not my trophy then, sort of thing." And he goes, yeah, 100%. And I go, "But you're not going to do the fucking dodgy and give me a bill for wounding it, and then one of them guys shoot it?" Because I go, "I know what it looks like. If that's the case, it's fucking not going to be happy. I'm going to fly back here and burn your house down," sort of thing. And he goes, no. He goes, we're not dodgy like that. He goes, like we'll be legit with it. If someone does shoot it, we'll tell you and whatnot. And I was like, sweet, no dramas. And he goes, yeah. So he goes, "We're going to go and try and get a a selection, but like a mature selection. So he goes, it'll still be like a big deer, but he goes, it'll be something wrong with it. And he goes, there's two up on this spot in particular that they want to like cull, just because one of them's got like a busted brow tine, and his antlers aren't symmetrical. And then the other one that they wanted shot was the one that Corey said on day one that he was he'd be happy to shoot. And he goes, and that one there, because he's not symmetrical, like he's got all his points. And I was like, I'd be happy to shoot either of them. I want it like known, because like we're the second group in, so there was another three groups after us, and I was like, just try and actively like shoot that one there if he turns back up, so I'm not paying a wounding fee plus a trophy fee on that, because that's going to really fuck my bank account royally, and the missus will probably divorce me, and it'll turn into a big shit show. And like at this point here, we'd become real friendly with old mate the guide and stuff like that, and we'd like become good friends and stuff like that. So it was all yep, sweet, no dramas, and I was like, sweet, it's going to be a good arvo. Anyway, driving up, so they have a native wild cat in Bulgaria that just looks like one of our feral cats. And one of them come running across the road in front of us, and I was like, oh, feral cat. And he goes, yeah, that's a good omen. That's a really good omen. Something's gonna die this afternoon. I'm like, oh, sweet, no dramas. And I was like, before we left, we did the manifesting thing, and we're all coming back heavy this arvo. And he goes, fuck yeah, let's do it. Good. So anyways, we get up to where we're going. Oh, it was good. Like the mood was high, the good omen of the cat. Anyway, we got up there, and when we first got out of the car, the wind was perfect. And we're like, fuck, how good's this? Like everything was just starting to look good. Hopped out of the car, could hear them all croaking and carrying on. We're like, sweet, they're already there. That's going to make it shit because we've got to push in there, but at least they're already there. And sort of the same thing. I said, look, if we get part of the way in and I see my particular one and I can't stalk or can't get a crack at it, do you mind if I grab the gun and shoot it? And he's like, no, that's what we prefer. If that's the case. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what I'd prefer too, and my bank would prefer. So we got around the back and we started sneaking onto the rut spot from a different angle. Anyway, we got in and started glassing, and there's a few good ones there, and one of the selections that he was talking about was there, and he's pointing him out and taking photos and showing me on the camera and stuff. And I'm like, sweet, righto. If that one like comes into range, I'm happy. Like I'm keen as to because he's a cool deer, like he's got character and stuff like that. So we're sneaking, we get a bit closer, and we're probably 70 at this point in time, about 70 meters off the rut spot, but we've got two good pads below us leading into it, and the wind's like pulling up into our face, so it's pretty good for it. Like, sweet, there's girls starting to filter through, there's a few more bucks starting to filter into it. Like, it's the afternoon's just everything's going to plan, it's all looking good. Then the dogs that we heard from the afternoon before fired up again. So then the deer all got a bit on edge, and some of them started pushing off. And
what's the deal with the dogs? Is it like here where we've got wild dogs and they'll shoot them, or they're just?
So they're either like strays from a farm somewhere, or they're from a driven hunt, and they've just picked up a scent, ran off somewhere else, and so essentially, if they don't have a collar on them, it's fair game.
Okay.
And he goes, they're in our area. Like, we don't want them doing this. He goes, this will be 2 afternoons. They fucked our hunts. Like, we can't be having that. He goes, if we see it, we're going to shoot it. And I was like, oh, well, if it's in bow range, I'll add it to the thing. What's the trophy fee on one of them? And he goes, that's the only thing here that's free. And I was like, sweet, even better. I like the fucking sound of that. And so we sat there for a little bit, and the deer are all on edge now, and they're all starting to filter out from where they were, and some are filtering up towards where we are. And it just all happened that quick. A real good one come in. It wasn't one of the selections. But yeah, it just fucking yeah, like you would have shot him every day of the week, even over there, like just cracker, and about 6 yards in front of us, just stopped, and he's looking around, and I'm sat on a rock, like at a certain angle, so I've only got a certain amount of range that I could shoot at. So like to have a crack at him, I'd have to sort of get up and shuffle around and move probably 45 degrees. So it was just never going to happen. So I was happy just sitting there soaking up the moment. And he walked around a little bit and then pulled up. It would have been about 15 meters, like slightly angling away, and the same sort of thing. I could have moved around, but it just, he would have spooked before I moved around. So it just hunkered, sat still. Anyway, all the deer had then gone off the rut spot. We're like, for fuck's sake. Fuck, what else could fucking go wrong? Dogs fire back up again. The dogs come into the rut spot and they're on the rut thing, sniffing around and scratching and pissing, and like I tap old mate Anton and I'm going, wait, the dogs are there, and he's like, where? And I'm like, over there. There's a white one and there's a black and white one. And at first I thought the black and white one might have been a wolf because it was like fairly big. It's just like a big, like a sheep dog type, like a herding, like they put them with the herd to stop predators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the other dog was just like a fox terrier or something like that. And he goes, they'll be from a driven hunt somewhere. Like they'll be from a driven hunt from the last weekend or whatever it is, and they've just come over the ridge or whatever trying to look for something. And he goes, there's a farmhouse down there, so they may have come over to try and suss out the farm dogs, and they've been pushed away from there or something along those lines. And I was like, oh, righto. Like, oh, well, if one comes into range, I'll shoot it. And he sort of goes, well, I want to shoot them and fuck them off because it's ruining it. But he goes, is it all right if we shoot it? And I went, well, if we don't shoot it, nothing's going to happen because they're going to hang around here and nothing's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I go, but if you shoot it, is it going to scare everything and fuck it up? And he goes, maybe, but it'll get rid of them and there's a chance that stuff will come back in. And I was like, oh, righto. And they sort of they were following along the deer that had just walked below us. And I was like, well, they're coming this way. If they come into range, I'll pin one with the bow, and then you shoot the second one, so they're both out of the way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, they come up, and I've ranged, and I'm like 57 meters, and like at this point, he's already got a round chambered, and he's looking at him through the crosshairs. I've got the arrow on the string. I'm all but ready, range fine. I'm like 57 meters. I go, no, you'll have to shoot it. He goes, all right, boom. Shoots the bigger of the two dogs, and it's fucking doing circles and carrying on and yapping. And the first shot was a bit low, so it's hit like the bottom of the brisket and stuff like that. There's still blood and claret going out everywhere. Mm-hmm. And he chambers the second one, shoots it a second time, and they fucking run off down like back into the valley sort of thing, yelping and carrying on. And that continues on for a couple of minutes. And from that happening, it just stirred the deer up, and there was deer fucking everywhere. They come in from different angles, left, right, and center. We had like a couple of does come in above us at like 4 meters. Like it's good that they stopped. Otherwise, they probably would have walked straight onto us because we're like tucked up against some rocks on the side of a pad. So like it worked out half good that they seen us and pulled up. Otherwise, yeah, it would have been a fucking shit show. But no bucks come up, and then the wind fucking changed. And the wind's blowing directly from our spot down to where the rut spot is, or the leck. And I'm like, could this afternoon go from fucking like high to the fucking lowest of lows? I'm like,
where's my omens? Like, come on.
I'm just going, let's just go back to camp. Let's go into town, buy a bottle of something. I'm just going to get fucking absolutely plastered and spend the remainder of my time in Bulgaria paralytic drunk, moping around camp because this is just fucked. And he goes, no, we'll just see. He goes, the wind changed as quick, it might change back. He goes, anyway, 20 minutes, half an hour's gone. The wind hasn't changed. It's still shit. We got about 25 minutes, half an hour of light left. And I go, what are our other options? Like, have we got any other options? And he goes, not really. He goes, like, by the time we get out of here and go back to wherever we can go to next. The wind's already fucked any spots there, and by the time we get out and go back to another spot, it'll be dark. So we're between a rock and a hard place sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, for fuck's sake, righto. I'm like, oh, we'll just ride this out. Anyway, can hear a few croaks going on, and it starts to come back to normal. And like, because the dogs had yelped and carried on and ran out, and we yelped, like they moved off, and where they finished up yelping and carried on and presumably died was a fair way off the thing. He goes, that's a good thing, because the deer will know that they're not there now, so they'll be more likely to come in. And he goes, we just need one to come in and croak, and it'll start the process, and they'll all start coming in again. Yep. A couple of minutes later, one come in from the bottom of the creek and started to croak again. Like, sweet. And then it all started, and it started to warm back up. And then the only spot that deer could literally come in and it'd be good for us in this position was directly below us, because the way the wind was going, like, it was cutting across to the rut pad. But if they were in the creek and came up, it'd be all right, because our wind would go above them and it wouldn't blow into them.
Yeah.
Or if they came right over the top, by the time the wind had got there, like, it may have moved away or like diluted enough that it wasn't an issue to spook them. Anyway, a few more deer started to croak and carry on. And we're like, righto, that's good, but we can't make a move on any of them. And then all of a sudden just see the top of an antler, and I like tap him, and I'm like, down there. And he's like, yep. He's all right, the one on the right. And like, he was the bigger of the two. And I'm like, yep. And then he goes, it's the one on the left. Because they'd moved position as they were coming up. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, the one in the lead. Anyway, they'd walked up and stopped at like 25 meters under a tree, and just, there was no shot opportunity, and I would have had to move the angle. But then there's a point that if they kept going, they would have eventually cut the wind. So sort of just fucking sat tight. And yeah, they walked up about 18 meters, pulled up behind. One was in the full open, but that was the one I didn't want to shoot. Mm-hmm. Or I wasn't allowed to shoot. And then the one that I wanted to shoot was there, but they were looking straight ahead. So like, we get caught on the side, and there's a little gap in a tree I had to shoot through to get him as well, like probably a 2-inch gap. Sort of 6 or 7 meters in front of me. So it was either going to be a make or break shot if I had to clip that. And on cue, a buck below croaked, and they've both turned and faced him. And I've just come back to full draw, settled the pin, executed the shot, just watched the arrow just bury through him, like hit him in the pocket of the shoulder, exited the point on the offside. Yes. Arrows coated in blood. He's turned and ran like 30 yards down the hill, hit the deck, and like, I'm pumped, and like, old mate's like, fuck yeah, fucking how good's this? And yeah, he's like piled up, and then yeah, just with the, like I was explaining, there's no grass, it's just rock and dirt. Yeah. And then he's sort of just he's just gone down like another probably 30. So yeah, about 30 yards he hit the deck, and then he's rolled another 30 down. And we're just like high-fiving and carrying on now. I've got to pick my arrow up. It's coated in blood. And I'm like, how fucking good is this? And he goes, that's the most effective like bow shot I've ever seen. That's the quickest, because he goes, I even, like some of the guys with the rifle, he goes, they'll shoot them and they'll still run 100 meters before they die. Mm-hmm. He goes, just because they're so amped up on all the, like the testosterone and all the different things that are flowing through them. He goes, you know, sometimes it's a hard job to find the one the rifle guys shoot. And I was like, yeah, righto.
Dude, the amount of relief I just got, like, this has been a stressful story. I didn't realize it till just now. I was like, oh, thank fuck. Like, it all came to.
I told you before this. I tell you, I could have told you on the phone, like, prior to this what had happened, but it wouldn't make this as good. Because
I'm so glad we held off.
So then we yee-hawing and carried on. We're like, fuck yeah, how good is this? Like, fucking woohoo. Fuck yeah. Relief straight over. And he goes, that's one of the the selections. Like, that's one of the 2 selections that we wanted shot off here anyway. And I'm like, fucking perfect. Like, he's a cool, heavy deer. And I'm like, fuck, how good is this? Like, we're yahooing, and we go down, have a look at him, set him up, take some photos. And it's getting dark by this time. So the first couple of photos are in that like twilighty stage, and then the rest are done with the head torch or the flash on the camera and stuff like that. And we're still celebrating on cloud 9. And anyways, I look up the hill with my head torch, and there's a set of eyes just beelining straight for us. And I go, that's a wolf or a jackal or something. Fuck. And then, like, because my head torch is just like a beam, that's not a spot. And then he's like, his light is a spot. So he's just flicked it up and gone, oh no, that's a deer. That's a good deer. That looks like your first deer. And I go, no fucking way. And he's like, we have to check, but I think there's a good chance that's your first deer. We need to find if he's got that wound on his shoulder. About 20 seconds before I'd said, like, look at these eyes, I'm pointing to him on his shoulder where, like, I hit him, and I'm going, like, we're looking for a wound on his shoulder, like up around the top of his scapula, that may literally just be like a glancing or a graze because of the way the arrow was and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, righto. And then this all happens. As he goes, get your binoculars, I'll get mine. And we look back up, and sure enough, he's got like this mark on his shoulder where it is. And I'm like, there can't be 2 deer with the same antlers, like all perfect and like symmetrical, the guards, all of that, because at the start of it, he goes, oh, the guards aren't a big thing. You know, we can't guarantee that they'll have both guards, but you Aussies like them with 2 guards. And this guy had pretty good guards on both sides. So it was a bit of a standout. He was real even. It's just, you can't not like repicture this buck. Yeah. And he's got the wound up on his shoulder in the same spot. And at this point in time, he's probably like 35 yards above us. And the torch has gone up 2 or 3 times, so he's a little bit on edge now. And like, we're there, and I'm going, are you 100% sure that's my buck? Because if I shoot him or have a crack at him and it's not mine, I'm not paying the wounding fee. I'm paying again. Like, I'm either paying the fee for him and this one that's on the ground, but I'm not paying 3 lots of fees. Like, if I shoot her and you go, oh, that's not your one, I go, that's not fucking, he goes, no, that's yours, 100% that's yours. And like, I asked him 3 times and he's like, no, 100% that's yours. Anyway, I picked the bow up, put the torch back up, and I'm like, fuck, I don't think I'll get this done. And he's on edge now. And like, I think if we didn't put the big torch up and do all of that, he may have come right down to see what was going on with the deer that I'd got there, and probably try and fight and pick him up. And he's turned and started to walk away. And as old mate said to me, oh, can you shoot him with a rifle? I'm grabbing the rifle because I'm like, I'm not letting this fucking go. Exactly. Like, this is just too. So he's put the torch back on him. The second I chambered the round and made that sound, he fucking bolted. No. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Anyway, I'm looking at him through the crosshairs. He's got the torch following him. And then he gets to a thick patch of timber. And I'm like, if he doesn't stop in the timber, I'm going to shoot him on the other side when he comes out. And he got to the thick patch of timber and slowed right down. And he slowed down enough. I just put it, and he paused for a second, and I'd bang. Fuck it, yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's done. He's dead. Like, it's done. And he's like, but now we've got to find it, and it's dark. And then the jackals start carrying on up above us, like probably 150 meters away. But I'm just going, fuck. Anyway, in the middle of this, we get a photo from Harry. He's got a deer. He's got a deer on deck. And then you get a text from one of the other guides. Theo ended up shooting a good one with a gun. Yes. Like, he's seen this good one come in a couple of times, and he just went, I can't shoot it with his hand the way it was and stuff like that. So we opted to shoot with the right. Like, righto. I was like, fuck, how good's that? We got 3 deer on deck, potentially this 4th one that I've done the thing here with. So we leave the bow, take the rifle, get the torches, go up and look at where like he was, and then sort of just walk along the track. And I've got 23 minutes left, so before my battery dies. So we'll no time limits, but so we go up, we get there, look down, 40 meters, he's dead, and I'm just like, no fucking way. And then, man, it was just yee-hawing and yee-hooing on the thing, and went down, had a look at the one that's like exactly where I said it was, and just exactly how it all was. And I'm just like, holy fuck, this is just insane. Like, and I said to him, I go like, have you ever done anything like this? And he goes, this is the most insane hunt I've ever had. Like, he goes, in the 5 years with all the clients, he goes, I've never had anything like this. He goes, if you told me this and I wasn't here, I'd say you're full of shit. Like, and I go, I'm just glad you're here, so there's backup for this story if someone ever asks.
Mate, it's literally like I don't know, it's like a movie. Like, the ups and downs that you've just taken us on have been insane.
Dude, Bulgaria, just absolutely a mind fucking a half, high as the lows. But so then like I said to him, I go, do you mind if you go and grab the stuff from down there? We'll get some photos with this one. I go, I just need a minute to sit down here and just process all of this and go through it all. He's like, yeah, sweet, no worries. And yeah, I just sat down there next to him on the hill, and I'm like, fuck. I whipped my phone out, and I'm like, I gotta like do a self-recorded video of this like right now in the moment, just to capture it so I can look back at it later, because it's just. And yeah, so I did like a little self-video-y thing of it, and old mate come up right at the tail end, and fucking, yeah, sweet, this legend, da-da-da-da-da. And then, yeah, we just set about, took some photos, and then while we're doing that, we got a message, Corey shot one but lost it. Oh. Shot looks good. And I'm like, no fucking way, how good is this? Like, we're like, the afternoon thing of all four of us getting one done is looking like a
possible thing.
A realistic, it's looking like a possible thing. And so we just like sat there soaking it up, and then he made some phone calls, and because they don't just like ring bark and run or take the cape off them there, because of it brings the jackals into the rut area. So they actually have a stretcher and a crew of guys that come up, and like you put the whole deer on a stretcher and lift the whole deer out and walk it out.
No way.
And I was like, no, I'm feeling fucking good. I'll put him on my backpack, and we'll get him out a little bit. Like, I don't think I'll make it all the way to the car, but I'll get a little bit here. And he's like, fucking crazy, man. You're fucking crazy. And I'm like, no, we'll give it a go. And because the ground's so weird, that was the hardest part. But yeah, eventually got it up, and I probably about 500 meters, I got him, and I was just like, I'm going to die if I keep going, because we were on the edge of the rut pad. We go, we keep going further in and it gets worse, there's a good chance I'm going to like slip, twist an ankle, roll down the hill. Me and the deer are going to fall the whole way to the bottom, and it's not going to be fucking good. Yeah. So we just put it there. They come up with a stretcher, and the idea of the stretcher is like 4 people are on it, and if one person loses, the other 3 people have the weight. Yeah. And it works really, really fucking well. And so we did that, and because there was Matt's buck and Theo's buck coming out, and we were the last one, so we got they'd already done these other 2 deer, so then they had to come back, so we had to wait like up on the mountain for probably an hour and a half. That was good. We're just like soaking in the moment and stuff like that with it all. And then Corey come up, and the crew of their guys come up, like, that do the butchering and stuff like that of the animal. And it was there's a fucking insane way to like sort of wrap up that day 3. And got back that night, just fuck it. I think we went to bed at like 1:30 by the time we'd got the deer, taken them all back, then caped them out, because their guys over there, like then they ring, like, it's mostly ring bark and run, because a lot of it's Euro mount, and they don't actually they don't do a lot of caping. And the guys that were there know how to cape, and the other guy that normally does the caping was already in bed. So they're like, "Oh, just put the whole thing in the cool room, and we'll do it in the morning." And like, not fucking happening, man. Not fucking happening. So yeah, we did that. I'm just gonna move this so the power doesn't die.
All right.
Because the battery's dropping quicker
Of course.
than that. So yeah, it's always the way.
Roll the toilet paper. Goes faster at the end.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. So, oh, fuck. But, yeah, so it was just an absolute crazy fucking. So why did I not sit here from the start? This is 10 times better than where I was.
So you guys actually caped out the deer completely then?
Yeah, so Harry caped his deer out while we were recovering, bringing my 2 deer back. And then when we got back, he's like, well, let's just go and cape yours while we're at it. He goes, the cool room's not a cool room. It's fucking, they haven't turned it on or it's not working. We're like, yeah, righto. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so, and in that time, so Harry had caped his deer, Theo's deer already, and then was just packing his tools up as we arrived back. And I was like, well, one of them I'm gonna Euro mount, because there's a fee on the skins.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so it's another government fucking fee on the skin. So it's €300 per skin. And I was like, well, I've got a few fallow mounted at home, and I don't really want to do 2 here. I'll just do the one, and yeah, so caped out the big fella that from day one that I shot with a bow and then ended up shooting with a rifle at the end of it, and did all that, and then the next morning it was like, well, we're going to look for Corey's deer.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, me and him went looking for that. Theo went off in search of, he's going to try and shoot one with a bow, like just a selection or something like that.
Yeah.
And Harry went off to sort of look for a selection upgrade, I guess, like a cull selection essentially. And, yeah, so we went off looking for Corey's deer and spent a good chunk of the morning. I probably spent 6 or 8 hours out there looking for this thing, had a blood trail and dog and all sorts of things there, but just, like consistently found blood, but just not enough. And we never ended up getting to it. While we're there was another group of hunters or poachers in the territory, and they were actually poachers. Corey's, well, they're not meant to be in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys were like, oh, that's the car from the other, like one of the hunting club places that's not meant to be here. They'd had like some run-ins before. Old mate's just whipped a pistol out of his pocket and just fired like 3 shots down the valley towards these guys. And I'm just going, fuck. And then Anton, my God, yells out to him. He goes, not loud enough, use the rifle. So then he gets like shoulders the rifle up and just
what?
Just shoots 2 shots, like not at him, just down into this valley.
Yep.
And I look down and I'm like, okay, wait, am I right to be standing here? Because like you guys are on the timberline and I'm up here just in the rocks. If they look back up, I'm the one getting shot at here. And he's like, no, they'll just, and the car sped off quickly like it was, It was just like it was a normal thing for them, like just a normal everyday event. And here I am going, fuck, am I going to get shot back out here?
That's crazy,
Talk about highs and lows. High, low, high, and then get shot and have the ultimate low. Like, fuck. So, yeah, we spent the rest of that looking for Corey's deer, and then it just nothing.
Never recovered.
Never recovered.
Poor dude.
So it was a bit of a shit show there. And then
it's
went
bittersweet,
back
isn't it? When you've gone through and done your 2, and then for that to happen.
Oh man, yeah, it's just fucking, just a shit way for it to pan out. And then we got back in that afternoon. Me and Corey hung back in camp and like boiled the skulls out and run a tape measure over everyone's, like all of our, like my two, Maddie's and Theo's deer. And then, they got told Theo ended up getting one with a bow.
Yes.
That afternoon.
How good.
So, and like a half handy one as well. So it was just like, fuck, what a, like, because old mate goes, well, come, we'll go back out and chase another deer or whatever it is, and Corey just went, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm not doing any more. And then pretty much next morning, drive about 4 hour drive back to the airport there, and
so it was always 4 days at each location.
Basically. So the standard hunt is 3 days at each location. But we tagged an extra day on each location just because, like, with bow hunting, it's obviously a lot harder than, like, with a rifle over there. You literally rock up to the lek, pick what you want, and be no different to a Macca's drive-through essentially. Like if you were just if you're just going to shoot one with a gun over there, like it's it'd be very good to be selective. Like you could essentially sit there on day one and not even think about firing a bullet. You just literally just sit up, 300-400 meters and just watch everything that comes in and out, and just you pick and choose what one you want to actually, like what one you want to shoot and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool over there. But so the wild story of
dude, what a recap.
Like, as I put up on the as I put up on that Instagram post, like there's a hell of a story behind it, and you couldn't type that story up.
No,
so
heck no.
And like I've mentioned to a few people of how it went down and stuff like that, and certain people talked a bit of smack about it, saying, "Oh, why would you pose with it with a bow in the background, and you shot it with a rifle and stuff like that?" And to be honest, I can't even remember putting the bow in the background. It was just all such a fucking mix of emotions. The gun's probably in the background too, but it's. If you got to knock someone else down to build yourself up,
exactly.
Fuck, I feel sorry for you, hey.
Mate, and that's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day,
that's what your life consists of.
I think anyone in that same situation, like, no one could fault you for what you did, for picking up that rifle when you're watching your money essentially run away, in a sense, right? Like,
oh man, like I said, I picked the bow up, and I was very close to having a crack at him, like 35 yards or 35 meters on a hill, front on at night, and it just didn't feel right. Like I picked it up and I just went, this just could end up an absolute fucking shit show. And he turned and made the decision for me by him turning and taking a couple of steps away. Just bow down, rifle up, and just secure it out. And like I said, it saves me like 1,600. saves me half of my New Zealand trip essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
By making that choice, and I physically get to have the antlers and hold them, and something that I get to look at for the rest of my life.
The ups and downs of this trip, like that is,
Oh man, and I've apologized to absolutely fucking nobody for it.
Good.
Like
That's awesome.
I wouldn't change it now, and if it makes someone else feel better at night to talk shit about me, fuck, I hope it keeps you warm. I fucking hope it keeps you warm.
Well, we actually we never really got onto the questions as such. A lot of there was one main question that got asked a lot. What do you reckon it was?
Who's got the biggest fox caller?
You're close. It was how big's Randy's horn? No, it actually wasn't the number one question. I just wanted to pose it that way. It was just Jack.
Yeah.
But no, actually, it was all around cost. Everyone was really interested in the cost of it all. Like, hey, what does a trip like this cost? Is it doable? Do you have
100% it's doable.
What do you have a full recap of everything you spent on that trip?
No, so I don't have the final bill as yet.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea, so the hunt there is the same price at Student Clarinets as what it is at a Cornichosh. So you're looking at €1580 for the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're looking at your tips and stuff like that. So just say €200 for your tips.
1780.
Then there's what's that?
1780 so far.
Righto. So you're adding this up as we go.
Yep.
Then you've got a trophy fee. So the average mature buck there is between 3 and 3.5 kilos. So let's just go. It's on the 3.5 kilo side. You're looking at €1,200 for that trophy fee. Then if you want the skin, so you're going to do a shoulder mount, it's another 100 on top of that fee.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at 1,300 in a fee, you're at 1,680, and then there's a vehicle transfer from the airport to there. But you divide that with whoever you're with. So if you're in a group of 4, that cost is split into 4. If you're in a group if you're just one out, you pay that fee by yourself. So it's about 250 kilometres and it's 95 cents a K. So if we just call it $1 a K and that, you make it €250.
Yeah.
So put all of that together and what are we at? We're about 5.5.
That's 330. What did I miss? That's 3330.
3330?
Yeah.
Yep, and then the flights, I think we're about 3,300.
That's Australian. Okay, so let's go to 33.
Yeah.
3330 euro is
so you're probably five and a half, 6.
Yeah, 5.5, and then 3.5 on top, so 8.5. Well, close to 9.
So I'd realistically say 10K would be if you wanted to just go hunt the fallow and shoot one trophy and everything goes smooth.
Mate, that's actually way better than what I thought. I was thinking 12, 15 to 20 sort of thing.
No, so the way we did it, it's probably going to end up being around that 15.
Mm-hmm.
But we did 2 full hunts. So if we had done them 2 hunts separately, we'd probably be looking at 10 and 10. So it would have been 20 all up. But by bulking, by putting the 2 together and tagging them on, we saved the airfare and, we saved that airfare side of it.
Yeah, wow.
So, my total, and I ended up shooting 2 deer. So obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive for me because of that side of it.
Yeah.
And then, so.
What about shipping I think the animals back and stuff like that? What are you in for that? Or is that all included?
Don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know that side of it yet.
Yeah.
So I think we sort of estimated you're probably looking at about 1,000 Australian for that.
Okay.
So, and that's with a couple of us putting all of our stuff together. So the 4 of us will put all of our stuff into one crate, send it back here to a central location. So it'll either come back to my workshop or Harry's workshop.
Yep.
And then from there we'll me, Harry and Corey will just pick it up, and then Theo's will either, pack it up and ship it through Australia on road freight, or if he's down this way or something like that, or we'll link up if he's got someone driving through or something like that.
Yep.
We'll get the trophy across. So there is another option. If you get there early enough and do your hunt, and say you're the first crew in, and there's another crew of Aussies coming in at the tail end of it.
Yeah.
You link up with them other Aussies, pay the €200 for an extra bag, and get them to come back basically with all your trophies packed in like a styrofoam box.
Oh, wow.
And it just comes back on the air with you. So the boys a few years back did that because what they do, they drill and pin the skulls.
Mm-hmm.
So they weigh it and do all that, and then the guys over there like drill through the skull from the inside up through the coronet into the like antler, and then cut it off like neatly, like a fucking immaculate, and put a pin in there like a dowel.
Wow.
So when it comes back, it's literally the antlers come off, and the way they do it, it's fucking immaculate. Like, one of the expos, one of the boys brought them back, and we're looking at it, and I'm just going, holy, like that's fucking incredible.
Couldn't tell?
It's absolutely incredible. Nah.
Wow.
Nah. So, and they just take a couple of measurements prior so you can set the antler to the right thing. And I even think on the back they engraved a little line so you could just push it to that line. And I'm pretty sure it was Jerry Redmond's was the ones that I saw that were done like that.
Yeah, wow.
That one of the other boys brought back. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. The only thing that can really bumps up your thing is if you wound one.
Mm-hmm.
When you wound, like at the student clarinets, it's €2,000 for the wounding fee.
Yeah.
So that's a big so if you wound one and then end up shooting another one after the fact, like your trophy fee, like
$3,200. Oh no. Let's see what we can do here. Just had a quick cutout.
I don't know what happened there.
It just completely cut out. I've still got audios running though, so we're good. I'm going to
keep recording. Don't want to have to redo that one.
No, it's still all recorded. I've got my backup. Thank fuck.
We're just shy of 4 hours on that son bitch.
Yep. Yeah, no, I've got it all recorded. So, dude, that's crazy. I can't remember where we're up to.
So I hope through most of that I've answered everyone else's questions. And for anyone that's thinking about it or whatnot, like I'm happy for you to flick me a PM and I'll flick you my phone number or whatever and talk about it on the phone in a bit more detail, because I definitely 100% would recommend going and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But just knowing what I know now, I'd probably do things slightly different. Basically just going into it with your eyes fully open.
Mm-hmm.
Like an understanding how it all works, because like hitting a critter in no man's land over here, we just go, it's no man's land. Whoever you're with goes, it's no man's land, and you move on and that's it. Whereas over there, like,
very different.
Definitely don't risk it. But one good thing, and one thing I'll like give them 100% credit for, is they look hard for animals. After it's wounded. Like we went, like for Corey's, there was like 5 of us up on the hill looking for it.
It's crazy.
One of the other guests that was there, that's like a bow hunter from Bulgaria, was there with his bloodhound. He give up time from his hunt to come and hunt with us, like to look for Corey's deer. Like, it was pretty like a real generous thing. Like just complete stranger. Like we met them the night before they rolled in, and they were just there. They're sort of new to bow hunting and stuff like that, and they were just there to shoot a meat animal, like a selection. And old mate, they went, we'll go and sit in our hide for the first 2 hours of the morning, and then give you a ring when we're done, and come up and we'll give you a hand looking for your deer and stuff like that. So
that's pretty
just
pretty cool.
Like, that camaraderie and stuff like that is good, and everyone's willing to give a hand. And the same thing with that pig. Like both them guys went on the Saturday. in their own time doing it and looking for it and stuff like that. So they go above and beyond to find it. Well, even Benny shot one when he was over there. One of the boars he shot it like on the last evening or something. Like he was there and he had to fly out the next day, and they found it like 3 days later and sent him like photos of it and stuff like that and whatnot. Like, yeah, they don't give up easily on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. 3 days later.
So yeah, pretty crazy. So there's just some crazy, like how in depth they go to track that animal down and find it after the fact. Like whereas here we're very
quick to move on in a sense.
Well, it's
slightly different, right? And it depends on the type of the animal. But I mean, we've talked about this before. I haven't talked about it with Benny. Like if it's a sow, for instance, you're moving on pretty quickly compared to if it's a trophy deer. Yeah, we'll spend a lot of time on it. But it's like
you spend a bit of time looking, but if you follow all the things and you go right, there's not a lot of blood. It's travelled a long distance. There's a pretty good chance we're never going to find it. We write it off and go, fuck it. Or you go, hey, I'm here for another couple of days. I'll come back and look for crows. But we move. You move on with the hunt. Whereas over there, it's very. We're lucky. We're lucky here with what we got. Like this is after going there and like talking to their people, like their guys, and seeing how they hunt and all the stuff they do, and like all the stuff the opportunities we have. Like I'm telling one of the guys, I go like, our last hunt away, there's 3 of us, and we ended up shooting like 38 pigs over a 3-day trip. Like no big boars or anything like that, but 38 pigs. He goes, we don't shoot that in a year. Like, the numbers, like the expectations and stuff like that we have going somewhere else is so much higher because it's so game rich and dense. We have so many options, whereas those guys there, like for me and Corey to both end up like getting boars out of that place there, I think he said between 12 and 18 a year is what they get out of there on average. And they hunt for 9 months of the year there. So like when you work that out and you go back into like the percentages and statistics on it, that's pretty fucking wild that we both managed to do that in the same thing
in a rifle-ridden place.
Yeah, that's it. Like the majority of them are there, and the Mouflon, like that hunt's a very low success rate. Like in the over the course of the year, like I said, we were there at the wrong time of the year for it too. Like now's the prime time to be there when they're rutting, because he goes, they don't call, but he goes, you can hear them fighting. He goes that bashing of their heads. He goes horns. He goes, you can hear it 3 or 4 gullies away, so you can just pinpoint them. He goes, if you want to come back hunt Mouflon, he goes, like right now, like the 10th of November, he goes, early November is the prime time for it.
How good.
And then with the pigs, there's a rutting season for the pigs as well. And he goes, if you want to shoot a boar, like that's the time. Like he goes, so you come in each animal's rut, you'll have the best possible thing. So like that's sort of what I was getting at with what I know now. If someone said to me, hey, fuck, I want to go and shoot a Mouflon over there, I'd say, well, you can't put the two together. Yeah,
it doesn't work. It can, but it just doesn't work as well.
The other option is there's a lot of, like in the northern parts of Bulgaria, there's a lot of high fence operations. And high fence in a sense that it might be a 5,000 acre block that's high fence to keep the bears and the wolves out, not necessarily to keep the animals in. But that's something that don't sit right with me. Like I've done one high fence hunt thing before here in Australia, and it's just ruined any of that for me. It's made Africa fucking all but impossible to think about doing because of it. And and there's options there. And one of the guys goes, there's a place, 3 hours up the road, you're nearly guaranteed you'll get your Mouflon.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like he goes, if you want to get one, we go up there and He goes, you're very good chance of getting one. They don't have as a higher standard either, whereas that place at Kormasosh, the first place we went to, it's one of the oldest and most traditional hunting lodges and hunting places in all of Bulgaria. Like it originally was created by one of the politician who had the country, like was running the country at the time. He set it up as his own private hunting lodge, 50 years ago sort of thing. So that place has been locked up ever since then. So it's been a hunting lodge for, the last 50 odd years.
It's so cool.
And
it'd also make it so much more special if you did get it done there as well, right?
Oh man, there's a little bit of me that wants to go back and try and do because the Mouflon kicked my ass.
Yep.
Like if I win 10 grand in the lotto tomorrow, that's the first thing I think I'll go and do. The caribou hunts first, but that's to go back and chase that Mouflon there in Bulgaria after seeing how hard it is and whatnot. To do it over there, spot and stalk would just be, The guy over there reckons it's impossible to do with a bow. He goes, you'll never get one spot and stalk here with a bow.
Oh, watch me.
And that straight off the bat just drives me to be
Task is set. Let's go.
I will prove you wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me I can't. I want to show you I can. But after the time there and stuff like that, if anyone does go and take one spot and stalk free range over there with a bow and arrow, pat yourself on the back because that's a mission.
It's
that's a proper mission.
This whole story has kind of just been like the epitome of bow hunting in a sense, right? Like it's really like this is what bow hunting is all about, like the highs, the lows, the extreme like desires. Like it's intense, and it took it to like 100% level.
Oh, dude, but we went to minus 100 and positive 100 on this, like
multiple times.
The mixtures of all the different feelings and emotions and all the shit was just like, holy, like you just, I don't know if I could do it again in the next 12 months, to be honest. I don't know if my,
recover.
I don't know if my heart and soul and brain will recover from that.
Did you and Corey have a wrestle at all, or it was all good?
Nah, no wrestles this trip. Couple of cuddles, but no wrestles.
I got to ask, in regards to the fallow, like obviously it's done, whatever, like it happened the way it happened, but looking back on that situation, and it's a hard question to ask because obviously the like hindsight's always a great thing. Let's just ask it in this sense. If you were taking that shot at home, would have you done anything different, or you did it the exact same way that you always do?
The exact same way.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's literally just where he was and how I moved
to hill movement
to get a better angle at him. Yeah, it's literally the saddling of the hill, because I didn't actually go forwards or backwards. I just moved on the hill. But that moving on the hill
does a drastic change. Like
2 steps, change the distance. Well, change the distance by 4 meters. And like I went back to camp and had a shot, and I put the target at 26 meters, and I used my 30 pin, and it was like 3 inches high.
Yeah.
So like straight off the bat, if I had got the distance right, and he had reacted, I would have been 3 inches lower.
Yeah, exactly.
So no man's land would have been the top of both lungs. We would have been,
cheering from word go
on the beers back at camp that day. Well, it would have just changed the whole morale of the trip. It would have just, the momentum for that trip would have just been fucking skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Like I would have been blinder than a welder's dog on day one in student Cladendez, fucking Bulgaria. Like I would have been no good to anyone that afternoon. And like it could have changed, but it is what it is. It all happened the way it happened, and I wouldn't change it, and I won't apologise to anyone.
No, neither do you
about
have to.
it. It's just it is.
Nor do you have to.
That is what it is, man.
And then on top of that, is there anything that we haven't covered that you think we should have?
As long as we answered everyone's questions and stuff, and that's pretty much
I think so.
The woe to
in general,
to go on it all.
There was a few questions on fallow, more so around like fallow within Australia in regards to like, where was it? There was something along the lines of like, what do you do? Did the hunt live up to your expectations? That's a good question.
It lived up to, it lived beyond, it lived under, and then it lived through, and now it'll live forever.
That's a good way to put it.
Through this podcast.
Yeah. And then, so this is the one that I was going to, how do you call them out of the rut? And so realistically with the fallow deer, it's not going to happen, right? You can't call them into you outside the rut. It's more locate and find and.
Yeah, that's not really, man. Like the only thing there that may work in that is a fawn call, which is just a really high pitched doe call, and then you're only really bringing the fawns in. Like, I mean, there's the odd chance you could scrape a tree and bash a tree up and get the interest of another buck, but yeah, the rarity. Outside of the rut, spot and stalk, man.
Yeah,
even in the rut, spot and stalk for those big mature guys is 90% of the way. Every big fallow I've ever seen taken in Australia in the rut has been spot and stalk in the rut.
Yeah, I've seen a red fawn distress call bring in the hinds outside of season, and that's just essentially like a fawn call, but like after another, just like repeating, and that can bring in a red hind. But
essentially all animals would be the same. Like for a fawn call, like if you grab a little piglet and hold it and make it carry on, mama pig will likely turn around and have an investigation. She might not come running in, but I mean, I've never grabbed a fawn and had it do calls, but yeah, I've seen them come into fawn calls. I've seen fawns and mums split, and the fawn carries on and the mother comes in. I've never tried it because it's never been of any benefit to me to do it, to shoot one. Like I'm just happy to spot and stalk them.
Yeah, definitely. And the last question that was there was there was a lot around the cost. Like I said, one was, when's the best time of day to hunt the fallow, which is typically going to be your morning and night, right? Like depending on where you are, but
first and last light, like that first 2 hours of the day, the last 2 hours of the day. There's something else I've sort of tried and practiced and done over the last couple of years has been like early in the piece, early in the rut, like in the middle of the day, just pushing around and looking at some different scrapes, because basically like how it works here, or how I've found it works here for the rut, is the boys will round up the girls and push them to a spot that they want the girls to stay in for the day. Once the girls are settled, then the boys will go back out and check their scrapes, check their perimeter, do a bit of a recce, go and have a drink, and then come back to the girls. And that window there might be about 3 hours, and it's normally through the middle of the day. Later in the day I find better, like early afternoon. I find they push them up at first light to the scrub, then they'll sort of meander back, and I don't know, say 8:30 or something like that in the morning, they've got them back into some thick cover, and then the boys will actually like have a bit of a lie down or a bit of a chill there in camp if they're not mating the girls at that point in time. Quite often they'll lie down and relax with the girls there and just chill for a bit and have a breather. Other times they'll leave the girls and go and have a camp up somewhere else by themselves. I've had a few close calls with that there, just getting a buck that's sleeping that I've seen that morning holding girls, and walking back out from pushing somewhere else, walking back out. I've bumped into him camped up on in a shady spot away from where he was with the girls, just having a snooze by himself. And yeah, you can almost sneak up to them and slap them on the ass if they've had a big night rutting, fucking and fighting. They'll
ruined. Yeah.
Well, one of my mates nearly shot his first. Spinksy actually ended up shooting the deer. I think a week later, a buck we called Two Moons. But yeah, we were walking back out from a morning hunt and just seen him bedded behind a tree, and yeah, got me mate to stalk in, and he come right up behind, probably only 5 meters, but instead of drawing his bow and stepping out from the tree, he stepped out and drew his bow.
Oh no!
And that alter in movement just was enough for him to sense something wasn't right, and he just bolted out of there before anything could happen. Whereas I think if he'd come to full draw and sort of rolled around and crept out from the tree, he would have been a better chance of getting a shot away. But yeah, you live and learn.
Yeah, definitely. Hard lesson. Well, this is officially the longest podcast I've ever done here. How good? How good's that?
You picked the right person to talk shit with.
One for the record books, eh? That's awesome. Well, dude,
if you've got to this far in the podcast, good job.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been split over a few sessions, but you've done well. And thank you for sharing, Grant. That's awesome. That's actually, like I said, it was like listening to a movie.
Yeah, well, like I said, I could have told you on the phone and it wouldn't have made this as good, and your reactions wouldn't have been as good. And for anyone that watches the video side of this, sorry for my rough head. And look for Matty's reaction when I explain all that and see the size of relief on his face and the whores and the crazies.
I actually avoided Grant since he's been back because I didn't want to hear the story. So I'm like, I'm not giving him a call until we're doing the podcast. Like, I don't want to hear the stories. And I heard like a snippet of it. I'm like, don't tell me anymore.
Yeah, nah, she's it's a crazy tale, eh? It's a crazy tale, and I've been pretty quiet on the social media side of it. Just because I said to Matt, I go, well, I'll give you the exclusive for it. Fuck it, you look after us with the podcast and whatnot. And it's been good partnering up with someone that's like using the product and believes in it and was using it before we're paired up. And it's been great. It's been great to see the turnaround. And
that's awesome. No, it's two-way street, right? Like, you guys support me. The love's neutral.
It's been good, and the becoming a bow hunter fan base or crowd or whatever you want to call it, it's been good. Like, we got the thing there where we track all the codes and stuff, and yeah, it's crazy for whatever, I think it's 6 episodes or something like that we're in now with you. We've had more interactions with the website and stuff from that than previous like platforms and podcasts and stuff like that we've worked with.
That's awesome.
And that was, over a long period of time. That was, a 12-month, 18-month stint, some of them. And yeah, it's been good. So it's a credit to the listeners. They believe in what you're saying and believe in the product. And yeah, I'm happy with it, man, and appreciate everyone for their business and support.
No, definitely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, and something that I've said to you and a few other people as well, like, I could probably go and get a lot of sponsors on board for the podcast with the listenership it's got, but I don't want to. Like, I want to make sure that what I push is actually products that I believe in, because otherwise it's like my word's only as good as my word, right? And if I start pushing some shit, then it's gonna ruin the reputation of everything.
What you find, and there's some people on there and people out there that do it. Whatever they're using at the time is the absolute best in the world, and then for whatever reason they have a falling out with whatever that company is, or something happens, or a better opportunity arises in front of them, and the next minute, oh, that's shit, that's rubbish, why would you fucking use that? This other thing that I've just jumped on board with is the best thing since sliced bread, and you're like, mate, 2 months ago you were saying that about something else, and now it's the worst. And like, chop and change and just go with the worst thing for like a company is someone that'll just shoot or
bad mouth.
They'll say it's great. Well, not bad mouth. Like, anyone that bad mouths an Australian business from the Australian hunting community really, like the same with the other thing there. I fucking hope it keeps you warm at night because you're just fucking low. But we're a small community and stuff like that. There's a few of the other Aussie guys that are in the hunt community and stuff like that. That, yeah, where you can and where you should, it's always good to support the guys.
Definitely.
You support the other Aussie fellas.
Guys having a crack. Yeah.
Oh man, it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. We don't make a shitload of money out of it.
Definitely not.
By the time all your overheads and insurances and other things like that, it's not as lucrative as people think. And yeah, you have other people that jump on, buy a couple of thousand things off Alibaba and sell them out of the garage with no support, no backup, no customer support, no
testings,
no network, no testing, no development on a product, and sell it for dirt cheap and make a couple of bucks here, there, and everywhere, and think they're a hero, but really they're just fucking it up for everyone else that's trying to make a proper business of it. Like we've, our small little Aussie company is over in the States, and we're cranking with some of the big guys that have got 10, 15, 20 full-time staff people, and your online reviews and tests and stuff like that, where we're on par with them or we're better than them.
Yeah.
And that's just, for us, it's fucking awesome. Like we're chuffed with that side of
100%.
And it's awesome to see, because majority of the Aussie people are there supporting us and jumping behind us and doing the right thing. And there's a few sour apples in the cart that for whatever reason, just it doesn't fit their agenda to support us or support an Aussie company, not just us, other Aussie companies.
Definitely, yeah. At one point, I used the product, I moved away from it, and then I came back to it. There was one point where I was like, I wouldn't say I was bitter, but a few of them broke because of the steel issue that you guys had. And I reached out to you and I said, hey, what's going on? And you're like, oh, yeah, we had a bad batch of steel. I'm sorry. If you try another one, I'm sure you'll be fine. And I did. And I came back to them, and sure enough, they were all good again. And from then it was like pretty much most of the animals I put down within my bow hunting career, which is not that long, right? It's kind of, it's like a funnel, an upside down funnel. It started very, very narrow, and now it's starting to open up. And I've kind of taken a lot of critters in the last 2 years in particular. And it's all been using your gear. So it gives me a lot of confidence, that's for sure.
Man, the last thing we want is for our gear to affect someone's hunt and affect someone's thing. And like the whole reason we did those, like the press release thing and the call back and the WhatsApp, because we want to be transparent with all of our customers. And if there is an issue and we don't get on top of it before it goes out, like those things there taught us heaps about quality control. And there's things we've put in place now to try and prevent that. And like we batch test all the materials and batch test a series of heads from every order before it gets packed and stuff like that to try and prevent this. At the end of the day, in anything like mass produced, like what we're doing, where there's tens of thousands of pieces that have to fit together and go together, they give you a 2 to 3% rejection rate or failure rate of things that won't be right. So, it might be a broadhead that doesn't have a thread on it. It might be a broadhead where the shank's a bit bigger, because that machine that's the CNC machine that's doing the thread's doing thousands of parts, and the tool change is 3 heads late, and it's not cutting perfectly where it needs to be, or a tool plays up and has a malfunction, and you get 10 heads that are not machined correctly. That all goes through. But like from all of our sales and the reports of people, the stuff that's come back, like we've worked out we're under 0.5% failure rate. So like internally we're over the moon with that. And if anyone does have heads where there is an issue, like please reach out to us, because the only way for us to improve and get it better is for you guys feedback to go, hey, I got, we get people go, hey, I got 6 heads and one of them, the shank, it doesn't screw into my arrow right. We have a series of questions we ask, because we've been fucked over before by people that are just trying to get free heads or scam stuff out of it. So we're a little bit more wary these days. But if you genuinely have an issue and a faulty head, we 100% will replace it and sort it out for you ASAP. Like, we don't want anything from our side to let you down on a hunt. Like, fuck, I'd be livid if some of our stuff failed you on a hunt. But we've, like, in saying that, we've also got guys hunting.
I was going to say the amount of testing
all over the world.
Yeah.
Well, behind the scenes, before a product goes to the market, like we're working on a new head at the moment, and well, you seen prototypes
with you guys about the last year
long
for it,
yeah, like that's over a year ago, and we're still not happy enough with it. And those first prototypes we had, we went out and shot animals that killed animals. They held up to the test, but there's little things that we're not 100% happy with. So we've just back and forth, and like we could be at about the 10th revision now on it. Just little 1%ers, not even 1%ers, half percenters.
Yeah.
Because until that head is 110%, it won't hit the market. Like, we won't go into production with it. Well, I think, like, the pilot cuts probably had about 400 kills before we went into production on them.
So
like,
crazy.
Like, no one else is doing this shit the same way we are, and it shows
just
when
the cost
we can
that
do,
would
like, in
for you guys, right? Like that,
oh, dude,
would be ridiculous.
You don't even want to know what, like, a set of prototypes costs to do. Like,
I can imagine.
Everyone asks and everyone goes, "Oh, it must be good." And I go,
if only you knew.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
If you want to enjoy it, don't do it, because it takes time out of what you do for hunting. Dealing with shit people just sucks the energy out of you. But then also on the flip side, like, I get an email from a guy in Finland that we sent some broadheads to, and he shot, a couple of whitetail over there, and a guy from France has got it to go on a hunt over in Africa and stuff like that, and like all those cool things that you'd never know, or you'd never see or realize outside of it, that we get to see and experience because of what we're doing and what we've created. And then we got, like, some of the fucking
biggest names in
I'm
hunting.
not going to say I'm not going to say the biggest or the best names in hunting, but
big names. Let's just say that.
You have a look at,
right, like,
like in the Aussie bow hunting scene, there's the top guys, or whatever you want to call them. They're all liking our gear, running our gear, using our gear, testing our gear for us. And even, like, now in the States, we got some fucking big name dudes over there that are using our gear now. And it's a pinch yourself moment sometimes when you get an email for someone that you've watched for the last 15 years, and you're like, oh, this dude's, and next thing you send them broadheads to their house, and you're having a chat with them on through social media or email about the product, and you're just like, fuck, like, how crazy is this?
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, and from humble beginnings, man.
Exactly. Hard work. There's so much that goes in behind the scenes. Like, and I've run a few small businesses now, and there is just so much time, effort, fires to be put out consistently. Like, when you run a business, although you don't have a boss, you're constantly working. It's like you think it's going to be better because you don't have a boss, but then you end up...
It's like, worse.
Christmas, you're putting out fires. New Year's, you're putting out fires. On your birthday, you're working on, like, and not to say that you don't do this stuff generally, but it's like there is no holiday. Like, you are literally working all the time.
Man,
it becomes it's crazy.
You do this, right? You think you love bow hunting. That's your passion. That's what you do. The rut rolls around, right? And you want to go and spend a week in the hills chasing deer. You can't because you've got everyone else wants broadheads, and, like, you get people 2 days out from a hunt sending messages going, "Oh, can you get my broadhead sent express post? I'm going away on Friday night, and this is Thursday night at 7:00. They're ordering an email at it," and you're just like, "But there's only one way you're going to get these fucking heads, and if that's for you to drive to my house and pick them up tonight, and if that's what we got to do, I'll have them sitting there for you in the letterbox, or if it's a decent hour, I'll meet you out the front and hand them over and do it." But just that time of year when you want to go and do your own thing, it's the busy time for us as a business, and everyone, lastminute.com. Like, yeah, if you're listening, order your broadheads for the rut in February, for fuck's sake.
Order them now.
All right?
Yeah.
Order them now. Get the BAB 10 code going.
Exactly.
Get them now so you got them for the rut. And yeah, don't leave it to lastminute.com, man. We want to try and go out and enjoy and have a hunt too. But yeah, it's owning a small hunting business is, and the other, like because we're in this, we talk to other guys that have similar businesses and shit like that, and they're all the same.
Yeah, I bet.
It's all the same. It's just like, fuck. So, but the highs, it's no different to the hunt, man. The highs and lows.
Yeah.
The highs and lows.
Indeed.
And there's always someone out there that wants to try and either knock you down a peg or talk shit or just try and run you into the ground to.
It's interesting the tall poppy
whatever makes
in
them
Australia,
feel better.
right? Like it is very interesting the culture that we have in the sense of like you can't let anyone get too far ahead of you. Like they can do good, but just not do much better than me. Like it's a very interesting concept. Yeah. You go to the States and a lot of it is very. Good on you, dude. Like, well done. It's a bizarre concept where they're like, they're pushing you up rather than pulling you down. And then sometimes it seems like it's just chop them off at the knees just a little bit here.
But you know what? It's not the other Aussie business owners that are doing it. No. Like we're all trying to work in and help each other and stuff like that. It's the people that have never, will never, probably can never do anything like this themselves because for whatever reason they're financially tied, they don't have the skills to do it. They're not some people just can't do these things. Like for us, like, I'm an engineer, Ian's a lifetime of archery knowledge and bits and pieces. Matt can make anything out of anything, fix anything with anything, and just he's a fabricator and welder by trade. Like this is three tradesmen that have all come together with different concepts and ideas and all banged our heads together. And at some points it's almost like the Corey wrestle, and then we come out on top with a great finished product. But yeah, it doesn't always get there. There's times where you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, I don't even want to talk to you now. And the highs and lows of it as well. But yeah, it all swings together, and without having that all that background and all that knowledge and stuff like that, we'd never be able to make these things the way we do.
Definitely.
And also, there's input for us from staff shooters, just the general public and other people that say, hey, what do you think about doing this? Or just a passing comment that people go, oh, imagine if your broadhead had this function or it could do this, and you sort of go, fuck. Yeah, right. That's a pretty radical thought process, and yeah, it's every bit of input that we get, whether it's from Joe Blow or fucking, people that are leading the thing like Brad Smith and, fucking all those type of guys, Benny Solaris, all those guys there that have been there, done it. Probably shot more things than most people have had hot meals. And other times it's just, we listen to every bit of feedback. Sometimes you have to discredit some feedback too, but unfortunately. So some people have, had a few too many bamboo schooners or played with the glass didgeridoo. What is it? The bamboo didgeridoo on the fucking too many glass schooners or whatever they are. I don't fucking know, but yeah, we get some funny things sometimes, man. It's
I can imagine,
and we get some good stuff.
Yeah,
so
definitely. No, you guys are doing incredible, and I appreciate the heck out of you. So thanks, dude. We'll put all your socials and everything on the show notes. Everyone can go across and find you if they're not already following. Jump across and look at Grant's socials because he's going to post some more pictures and stuff about the trip as well. But yeah, what an absolute ripper. Thanks for sharing, dude.
Nah, that's all good, man. Hopefully it, that's the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me, Lord.
Good note to end on.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cheers, man. And thanks for having me on, and thanks for letting me share. And, appreciate the support. And thanks to everyone for listening, and thanks for everyone that supports the business. And,
Awesome.
Cheers,
dude.
guys. Have a good one. Happy hunting.
That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, team. If you did have any topics, questions, or you wanted to suggest a guest for Becoming a Bow Hunter, you can send me an email at matty@becomingabowhunter.com. If you are enjoying the show or you've enjoyed in particular episodes, please do me a solid and share it around with your friends. If you are not already, please hit the subscribe button, as the more subscribers we get, the higher the podcast gets ranked, and that definitely helps out for showing it to other individuals. If you are not already following me on Instagram, it's at becomingabowhunter.podcast, and on YouTube, it's Becoming a Bowhunter. Get out, team, fling some arrows, get that practice in, and walk those yards in the paddocks until you find those critters. That is it for now, but not the last time that you'll hear from Becoming a Bowhunter.